Hello everyone, welcome to Demoscene Report January 2022, where I go through the Demoscene highlights that happened on this month of January 2022, so that you don't have to, so you have a resume of the things that happened that could possibly interest you. So let's get right into it and show you the stuff that has been happening this month. There's been a lot of things considering for a month where there was only one demo party happening. There were a lot of releases, a lot of news, so it's going to be interesting. Let's get into it. So first things first, we have to maximize this. There's always a number of New Year releases happening on the Demoscene. tAAt is one of the groups that keeps releasing them for a very long time. Don't know how many years, but they always did. I think I talked about this one on the previous month's video as well, but tAAt 2022 happened, and yeah. Check it out. There's a read up as well, a mini site link. If you click here, you have information on the technology behind it, and it's very interesting to read about. So if you have time, do check it out. Another Happy New Year intro that happened was by Nah-Kolor. There was also a New Year's disc from a bunch of people. I think it was organized by PPE or PPS. Yeah, PPS as a nickname there. And it's just a bunch of small Atari intros packed together into a single pack that was released to celebrate the new year. So worth checking out if you're an Atari scener as well. We had a Pixel Snowfall Every Day by Pepe production for the Pico 8. So we also had a Happy New Year Demoscene production for the Pico 8. Another release outside of New Year celebration, That Hacker Society made a compilation of the music that was played on Summer Hack and Silly Venture demo parties, and it's mixed together, and it has some nice visuals as well, so it's worth checking out. Synth sweeps and MPC beats. I'm going to show you a little bit of that just because I can. So yeah, by That Hackers Society, that was pretty good. Then we had the Polish UNESCO being approved, which is always good to hear about. The implication from the Polish side, they'd already been approved as UNESCO intangible cultural heritage in Finland and Germany, I believe, if I'm not being mistaken. But now it was also approved as Polish. I'm having double thoughts if it's indeed Germany. Yeah, Finland and Germany. Okay, oof, I dodged that one. So yeah, it was very cool to celebrate having some recognition on the cultural heritage that we've been spending so many of our, for some people, decades of our lives nurturing. It's good to be recognized, and this issue is talked about on the new zine issue that was released, that came out on January. It was they had Melkor, one of the leading people pushing for the UNESCO applications, on the show, and he talked a little bit about that. So I also recommend you checking out the Zine, the radio show podcast. More news of things that happened. SID Factory II got a new release, so if you're into doing music for the Commodore 64, this is probably worth checking out. There were some news of some Demosceners passing away. B from DCS and a few other groups sadly passed away. Was sorry to hear that. Also, the Caped Crusader, an old Demoscener from the United Kingdom, also passed away, and Pavok of Slovakia, Spectrum scener, also passed away this year. It happens, people die. It happened in particular that all three of them were somehow close around the same week, so it was a bit more hard to hear about. You know, it is what it is. The only certainty we have in life is that we will die eventually. Let's go on to Demoscene Productions released at DiHALT 2022. Was the only demo party that happened on January 2022. Happened in Russia. They had like a cabin meeting of some sort, and a lot of interesting compos happening. High-end intro by Korda and Bittel were really cool. The high-end demo bottom right was also an interesting, surprising excuse me, a surprising collaboration between two groups that are originally from the ZX Spectrum. So they put together this thing which is for the PC, which was interesting, and it's pretty good. I think it worked out pretty well, so congratulations for that. What else do we have? I closed the screen that I should have went back. Infinity was also very interesting by XS Team again. Doing stuff in Scratch with music by BFox. Really cool to see them still do some stuff. Last year they did a Scratch demo as well, and this was that, well, since last year he was 10 years old, I guess this year he's 11 years old. He's doing demos on Scratch because he can. So yeah, really cool to see this new generation of people doing stuff. Other stuff on DiHALT that happened. When I talk about the demos, the high-end graphics were also pretty decent. Music, Fool's Mask was also pretty good intro, as far as I remember. There is no YouTube here. Oh my god. And why can't I go back? What's the hotkey for going back on the browser? I should probably have learned it. A demo for the Electronica BK, but it's just a one screen. Even though it's an interesting flagging, it's just pretty much this screen moving around. So I guess it's cool. It looks nice, but I mean, it's kind of basic in that regard. The graphics compo really good. Christmas Day by Vassa won the compo for the Spectrum. Really cool stuff. And the second place was for Almighty God, the one and only. Also very good image for the Commodore 64. But the whole compo had like tons of entries, 30 something. Yeah, so really a lot of people submitted stuff. And yeah, a few more other compos. Graphics compo on 53C, which is using blocks, multicolor blocks for stuff. Was the winner entry for it. But overall, I think this is pretty much the highlight. If you like Spectrum stuff, you should definitely check out all of these entries. A lot of good music as well that got released. But it's mostly a Spectrum party, so if you're more into the ZX Spectrum, this is cool to check out. If you're not so much into ZX Spectrum, I guess not that much interesting. Other parties that got delayed because of the COVID concerns that have been happening lately. All situations in Europe pretty much have been getting worse in terms of people infected and restrictions. So we got delays from Access and Abyss Connection Party, which was happening in Germany. Also fjalldata in Sweden has been postponed, and just recently BCC Party, which I think was also in Germany, also been postponed, I think to the end of February. So a lot of parties been shut down, but to compensate, we have more live stream people being live streaming, which is really cool to witness, especially if you bookmark people or follow them on social networks so you get the announcements. We saw Aldroid doing some regular streams, which feature this production that I wanted to show in particular. I need to switch back the view. Happy birthday to Fluttershy of Tub. And this was actually a lot of effort went into doing this birthday intro. So good work from the what? The outstanding hackers? What does THUBs stand for? The hackers, unstoppable. The unstoppable hacker bunch. Okay, so I kinda knew it. I should have knew it, but well, now I know it for sure. So yeah, happy birthday to Fluttershy, which is one of the most recent members of the Unstoppable Hacker Bunch, and this intro was made especially for Fluttershy. Other streams that also been happening a lot, which are worth to check out. Felice has been doing some Atari ST demos, streaming from real hardware. Chips and Bricks, Frankie of RBBS, also been streaming some stuff, mostly C64 and Amiga, I believe. But yeah, also worth checking out. What else? Trickster also did a live stream. It's going to be live streaming some more. So if you like vintage IBM stuff, he has a lot of interesting content, and apparently is going to try to be live streaming more in the future. Encrypt been doing some stuff as well, the PT 1210 Weekender being one of the highlights, but they've been doing some on-off stuff beyond that as well. Amiga Build did a special on the Amiga featuring Truck and Frankie, which was also very interesting to check out. And the people from Decadence also played some Game Boy stuff the other day, so check them out as well. I'm going to put all the links to these people behind, and I should probably double check their Twitch channel. I'll add that on the description. Other stuff that happened, some more releases outside of any compos. After 25 years, Spreadpoint came back. I don't know these people, but Depeche apparently is very praised by people on the Amiga scene, and a lot of people are applauding that they did a comeback. I spent a couple of days trying to get an upload of the secret part, so I'm going to show you the video, and I'm going to show you the secret part. I missed the secret part at some point. I was recording the video. I'm like, there is no secret part. It's the same with and without the thing, but there is. I just wasn't noticing what it was. So I hope you spot it, because I failed it the first time. But it was interesting to try to set it up and try to get it working again. I was trying with the Mister. Also took some opportunities to retest getting the Elgato capture device working properly with the Mister. I ended up concluding that it was a problem with my USB port, which is good. Managed to get it somehow stable. Maybe I'll be able to do some live streams, or at least some recordings with it. That would be cool to have. This recording in particular I did with Win UAE, so yeah, there's that. The secret part hasn't played yet, so I'm gonna wait a few more seconds for it to play. They are moving, the letters are moving in space, with no gravity affecting them. This is the secret part. So yeah, if you're an Amiga coder, you probably enjoyed this little bit of vector trickery with some interesting physics. Well, not interesting, just working and working fast, which is wanted for many reasons. Moving on to other stuff, we had Metiorycs announcing their categories for 2021. I am a part of the Metiorycs jury, so I was involved with the discussion of what categories should be created, and the main difference that was happening was there was a special category last year for, I think it was Scene Spirit, the Scene Spirit Award, which kind of got removed, not because there is no more Scene Spirit anymore, but there was a special event on 2020 that was like getting into the pandemic that now sort of didn't really translate, or at least that was the argument behind the scenes, that didn't really translate to have it like a more global award sort of thing, even though I personally think it would merit that. There were some concerns that it might become political or something like that, and that's not what we want for the Metiorycs, at least not the organization team. So the categories that we have: new talent, it's an old one, best soundtrack, best visuals, best direction. The outstanding concept returned, I believe, that had been removed last year. We also have an outstanding technical achievement, and there's a distinction between outstanding concept and technical achievement. Even though a concept can be a technical achievement as well in itself, the concept stands more for like ideas and not just breaking technology. So there's a distinction, and hopefully there won't be that much overlap. That was one of my main concerns with having both of the categories, but let's see how things turn out. And another division that happened was the old school production, which was previously called low end, got renamed to old school because some people complained that low end is like a pejorative of some sort. So we ended up renaming it old school, even though some people might still also complain. And we divided old school and mid school because there have been a lot of good productions on the last year for 8-bit and 16-bit machines. We try to separate them: 8 bits for old school and everything else for the mid school, including fantasy consoles. Fantasy consoles because they kind of follow the restrictions, the old school spirit restrictions of the machine, and we had to put the fantasy console somewhere, and they don't get very represented on the best high-end demo or best high-end intro, so it made more sense to feature them here somehow. But pretty much the separation for old school production is ZX Spectrum, Commodore 64, CPC, low-end Atari stuff like the Atari 2600, and then everything else is and the BK, the Electronica BK machine as well, even though some people can claim that the BK is technically speaking a 16-bit machine. Anyways, Apple II also is on the old school production. And on mid-school production, we have Atari, Amiga, and the Fantasy consoles. And everything else, like MS-DOS, can also be featured here, and any other production for, PlayStation, Dreamcast, whatever, would also fit into this mid-school production category, even though there weren't that many releases of those kinds during the past year. Then we have Best Executable Graphics, which is a single image rendered within 4KB executable. Best High-End Intro and Best High-End Demo. High-End Intro is below 64K. High-End Demo is infinity and beyond of space. So these are the categories, and the juries are already working away. The deadline just closed like today or yesterday, and we are defining the heads of jury, and people are starting to watch all the productions to figure out who will get these awards at revision, which will happen in April. Hasn't been properly announced yet, but should be getting announced soon. Other releases that happened in January also worth checking out. We have an Ashiarena release by Go280. He released this column, which is like gigantically long. Look at the size of this. So Go280 representing the Ansi scene with a huge collie. I can scroll this for minutes. It even has a little story in the middle for you to read if you're bored from all the scrolling. Amazing stuff. So do check it out properly, not just me fast scrolling away. Some shout outs for some people. So yeah, totally recommend it. Yeah, I wanted to reach this part on the buildings, like that really looks cool. I'm getting dizzy now. Echo. Okay, enough of that. Other releases that happened, Musicdisk for the Commodore 64 by Vincenzo and some friends. I haven't heard it, but people say it's good, so check it out, especially if you like SID music. And if you like Spectrum music, you have Shiru's 1-bit music compilation. Shiru is a legend on the ZX Spectrum, so this is totally worth checking out. In terms of parties, there are new parties being announced. Black Valley will be taking on the vacuum left in the Norwegian Demoscene from the closure of Solskogen. So they have a new party. It's called Black Valley, and they already have a kick-ass invitation intro made by Logicoma to go along with it. The party will be 15 and 17 of July, as you can see. And invitation is tight, was my main word to describe it. Very simple, but very effective. Highly recommended. In terms of other parties, we also have some other more news. I'm gonna talk about my own party, Inércia Demo Party. We recently got a logo, and we were preparing we're preparing to get the web page going. That hopefully should be done in time for Lovebyte. Let's see if it happens or not. Capturinha got a special update for HDR support, high dynamic range. If you don't know what capturinha is, it's a tool to capture video properly, like not missing any single frame. OBS missed some stuff. KB is very anal about these things, so he made his own special tool to catch stuff. Key capture was already not up to standards of nowadays, so KB this new tool, and this latest update that he added was support for high dynamic range. If you don't know what high dynamic range, you don't really care that much about this update, but for people who care, have like monitors that support high dynamic range and want to do demos for high dynamic range, this is a very welcome tool to be able to, capture what the hell you're doing and be able to show it with other people. And YouTube also supports high dynamic range now, so if you have some monitors that support it, you can also put your stuff on YouTube for other people who have monitors that support HDR to enjoy colors in more resolution. I think resolution is probably the wrong word for it. but that's the one I can come up. Another very interesting thing that happened this month was a podcast episode interview with Simon Carlos. Simon Carlos is the person behind the Monotonic net label, which was one of the biggest references on the net label scene, bridging the tracker music scene from the 90s with what became the net label boom of the early 2000s, which I'm a part of because I have a net label. I created a net label around this time as well. And one of the reasons why there was this huge boom was because first a lot of people started having faster internet, and then we also started having access to cheaper hosting. And scene.org contributed a lot to tracker groups in the early beginning, providing space. And for some net labels that were related to the Demoscene, they were also hosted at scene.org. And then Simon Carlos was working at archive.org, and he got special places to host net label material there as well, which pretty much gave free hosting for anyone who wanted to create a net label, making the things closer to a zero-sum zero-cost activity, which completely exploded the amount of net labels that were active at the time. Nowadays, the market sort of evolved into more indie approaches, and Bandcamp dominates a lot of things, streaming dominates a lot of things, and it's been diluted, the lines between what is a net label, which in these terms used to be free for download music, which you would not pay for, and a traditional label, which would be just a physical record that you should not copy digitally to anyone. So there was this huge sides to the whole discussion, and nowadays they are a lot more merged. A lot of the physical labels already have digital stuff also available for purchase, and a lot of them allow distribution, DRM-free versions of that. Also, Creative Commons started showing up around this time and changed the whole market. Anyways, I'm ranting. Let's go on with the video. Plastic, the Demoscene group that also been doing games, got purchased or partnered with Epic Games in some sort. I don't think we will see Plastic doing demos anytime soon. I think they're focusing a lot on games, but you know, happy for them. Good luck to Bonsai, big hug, and very cool to see what other sceners are doing out there. Other stuff being released outside any Compo, Scroller for the ZX Spectrum showed you that it is possible to have a smoothing scroller in the ZX Spectrum. Something that was been researched for 20 years, I believe, and finally they managed to make it happen. So this is for the Pentagon 128K, but apparently it's also possible for the standard Western versions of the 128K. So I'm very curious to see how Spectrum demos will change, and the source code is available for this, so you can check what they're doing and try to use it within your demo. I probably some people already did similar tricks in the past, and I'm just not fluent enough to know all about them, but you know, really cool to see this. What else happened this month? The intro creation Compo. I haven't checked all the releases, but there are a lot of them, and there are some good ratings on them. So if you're a Commodore 64 scener, you probably want to check some of these entries as well. Last but not least, we have the summary of the best releases of the month and the previous month. A lot of stuff from previous month also listed here. Some stuff that I didn't mention yet was Gateway Y by Scoopex, which was a crack throw release also in January. Why doesn't the delete key work? What key is it on the browser? I need to know the hotkey for this. Techno was also released at Silly Venture. Oh yeah, and I wanted to talk about Troinoi, which was a new Demoscener. So welcome Vikasan to the Demoscene. Hope to see more entries from you. This is a 4K from him. Gonna skip a little bit to the hardcore intensive action part. Seen a lot of worse first entries from a lot of people, so keep up the good work, and I hope to see some entry from you, maybe at revision, who knows. Here we go, mad colors happening. Okay, welcome VK-san to the demo scene. And the last message that I want to leave you is to participate at Lovebyte. I'm helping organize the event with Super Rogue and Havoc, and Genio is also involved, Oki is also involved, Metrotronic is also involved, I think, Haldroid. We have a very interesting schedule of things that are happening already in Friday, so do check out. We have the Nano Awards, we have Byte Jams, we have all sorts of different compos for size coding stuff. Prepare some videos as well talking about size coding things that happened in the last year, which was a lot of work, so I do hope you check it out. Some very interesting seminars, DJ sets, so it's going to be a massive party. If you like tiny size coding stuff, this is the place to go. This became the mecca for size coding in the demo scene, and if you don't like size coding, come check it out. Come check it out. You know, you might be surprised at the quality of the productions that have been released lately, what people are doing, and it's a very, I don't want to say that it's an easy entry point, but it's a good entry point into being more active in the demo scene, because you can do just one single effect and then it's optimizing away. As long as you know how to code, or even if you're learning how to code stuff, and you don't have to focus on assembler, even though a lot of these things are assembler. You can also do stuff like with Lua and things like that for fantasy consoles, and still have fun doing size coding and learning little tricks on the coding language that help you do smaller stuff, and taking advantage of packers, what out there. So a lot of things that are interesting with size coding. I've been learning a lot on this past year that I've been participating a bit more in it, and I wish I had more time to get more into it actually. So do hope you check out Lovebyte. It's happening on 13 to 15 of February, this coming month. So in about 10 days, I think, 9 days from now. So yeah, hope to see you there. That's it from this video. See you next time. Bye bye everyone. Take care.